What's up, everyone? Welcome to the No Butts About It YouTube channel. Today we're going to do our water cooler analysis. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe right down there. And if you've never watched water cooler analysis, this is just basically me talking about Monday Night Football, what I noticed, and what I think people are going to be talking about at work this week. So the first headline is Minnesota Vikings defeated the San Francisco 49ers. That puts the San Francisco 49ers at 5-2. Moves the Minnesota Vikings up to 3-4, one game away from 500, and that is significant because a lot of people in the media were saying the Minnesota Vikings are going to have a fire sale soon, that they were going to be active at the trade deadline, sending away people like Harrison Smith, Danielle Hunter, possibly Kirk Cousins going to the Browns or the New York Jets. Well, now that they've won, there's a chance that they could make a playoff run. So I don't think we're going to see that fire sale, and that is huge for teams who might have been interested in any of those players here before the trade deadline hits in 7 days. Now, we're going to talk about Jordan Addison and those phenomenal plays, but the first thing I want to talk about is the offensive lines on both of these teams. The 49ers were missing left tackle Trent Williams, who is a huge loss, arguably the best left tackle in the NFL. I think that's the case. They were also missing their starting right tackle, which I didn't realize till the game started. That's another huge loss for sure. And Brock Purdy definitely missed Trent Williams. The Vikings were able to get pressure on him all night. And for the most part, Brock Purdy did do well at getting out of the pocket, running with the ball when he needed to. But I think that the turnovers were also probably caused by that pressure. So we saw the fumble from Christian McCaffrey. That was a big one. Obviously, he doesn't do that a lot. That was just probably the perfect storm for the Vikings. The main two turnovers I want to talk about are the interceptions thrown by Brock Purdy, which Brock Purdy didn't do anything that he hasn't done before. It was just the Minnesota Vikings did a phenomenal job at realizing that Brock Purdy didn't have his number one target, Deebo Samuel, and then his favorite target, who he's been liking lately when Deebo isn't out or Deebo's being used in a different capacity, Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk in the second half pretty much was a non-factor. I think he only had one target. And for the Minnesota Vikings to be able to shut him down, that's huge. They also were able to keep Christian McCaffrey from really having a huge game. Yes, he still got his touchdown, and that's another big storyline. Christian McCaffrey now has the second most consecutive games with a touchdown in NFL history. He was tied with O.J. Simpson and John Riggins, and now he is in second behind Baltimore Colts running back. Yeah, we're going back that far. 1963 to 1964. Lenny Moore had 17 consecutive games with a touchdown. So if Christian McCaffrey is able to get a touchdown next week against the Bengals, he will tie that record. And the Cincinnati Bengals run defense hasn't been the best in the NFL, so I would not be shocked at all if he gets that record. Christian McCaffrey is already a shoo-in Hall of Famer, but this just ups his stock even more. Now, I said Christian McCaffrey didn't have his best game. That's true. He did, however, still have a 35-yard receiving touchdown, and he had 51 receiving yards, which, okay, but most of those yards came on that 35-yard receiving touchdown, so he wasn't all over the place all night. He also only had 45 yards, and that's the lowest he's had other than last week when he got injured, when he had 43 rushing yards. So not a great game for Christian McCaffrey. He's probably going to look to bounce back again against that Bengals run defense, like I mentioned, but not a great showing for him, in my opinion. Now, let's go to the Vikings run game. I really enjoyed this Vikings run offense. It's something that we've been looking forward to. I think they've got a lot of talent. We've talked about Ty Chandler before on the channel, and now they've got Cam Akers in there, and that's just something that they're adding to that running back room. They used all of their running backs last night. They used Alexander Madison. We saw Cam Akers. We saw Ty Chandler, and we saw Ty Chandler being used in creative ways. He wasn't rushing. He was being used as a receiving threat, which is we're going to talk about a little bit later, but the Minnesota Vikings spread the ball around. So Ty Chandler, First of all, he only had one reception, and it wasn't like anything insane. I think it went for like 15 yards. The play, though, that I want to talk about that I thought was super fun, it didn't end up standing, but it was Kirk Cousins lateraled the ball to Jordan Addison, who threw it to Ty Chandler. That is a great creative play call, great way to use Ty Chandler. He ended up getting 27 yards on it, but there was an offensive pass interference on KJ Osborne that brought the ball back. But I like the idea. The concept was there. The usage of Ty Chandler was there. And I'd like to see other teams with multiple running backs, like the Cincinnati Bengals, use this concept. I think if the Minnesota Vikings can keep this up in this creative play calling, they could make a playoff run. We talked about the passing offense a little bit, but I really want to get into who these two quarterbacks were last night. We saw Kirk Cousins pass the ball to Jordan Addison a lot. He was his number one targeted receiver, even though he was out for part of the game with cramps. Thank you to Gatorade for getting him back in there for my fantasy team. But he still had 7 receptions, 123 yards, and a touchdown. He was able to steal the ball away from Charvarius Ward, and we're going to talk about why that was a big deal here in a minute. But Kirk Cousins also threw the ball to TJ Hawkinson, tight end, Brandon Powell, wide receiver, KJ Osborne, wide receiver, Cam Akers, running back, Ty Chandler, running back, Tristan Jackson, a wide receiver, Josh Oliver, tight end, and Alexander Madison. So definitely getting the ball around to different people, 9 different targets. And if we let's compare that to Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy only had 6 people who he was throwing the ball to. Obviously, he's down Deebo Samuel, so he's got to find other people. George Kittle got involved in the second half. He had 7 targets, ended up being the most targeted receiver out there. As a tight end, Brandon Ayuk had 6 targets. As a wide receiver, Jawan Jennings had 9 as a wide receiver. So I guess Jawan Jennings was the most targeted. He just only had 5 receptions. Christian McCaffrey, running back, and Ray McLeod and Dwelly, the tight end, also had receptions. But Brock Purdy wasn't really spreading the ball around. If Jawan Jennings or George Kittle wasn't open, it seemed like he either tried to run or it just didn't work out. He looked nervous, and I had mentioned that I wanted to see more of Brock Purdy in these tight games where he has to take the team on his back. And we've seen him there the last 2 weeks now, and he's thrown interceptions in those situations. He threw one last night on what would have been a game-winning drive. Last week, he was able to get them into field goal range, and that kick was missed by Jake Moody. So we're kind of seeing how much pressure Brock Purdy can really be under, and it's not looking good. That being said, the pressure that Brock Purdy was under was primarily due to the poor offensive line. Once Trent Williams is back, I'm sure the offensive line will be much better. If they can get that right tackle back, phenomenal. But Trent Williams is the big missing key piece. Get Brock Purdy some cleaner pocket space to work in. However, Kirk Cousins, he could have freaked out. First possession of the game, throws an interception. And it wasn't even, I'm not even going to put this on Kirk Cousins. I think it was a 50-50 ball. And this is where that Charvarius Ward, Jordan Addison play comes in. Because the interception was pretty much the same exact play. He threw the ball to Jordan Addison. Charvarius Ward was right on top of Jordan Addison. It could have gone 50-50, and Charvarius Ward just ripped it out of Jordan Addison's hands. Fast forward a little bit later, same exact play, but Jordan Addison is the one to rip it out of his hands. 60-yard touchdown. So when you look at it, I mean, I kind of get why Kirk Cousins threw the ball. It probably wasn't the best decision, but the fact that that was the only turnover of the night, and it was very early with a team that has struggled with turnovers this season, says a lot about this Vikings offense and how they've adjusted and how confident they are in their players and their teammates. I really think that this Minnesota Vikings team in a NFC that hasn't really wowed me could make a run for the wild card. Now, if the Detroit Lions completely implode, they might even win the division, but the Detroit Lions are currently sitting at 5-2, so that's an uphill battle. Once Justin Jefferson comes back, though, this Minnesota Vikings offense is going to take off. I love this team. I don't think they should fire sale at all. I think they should keep going with what they have in Kirk Cousins, presumably last season with the team. And that's all I've got for the water cooler this week. If you enjoyed this video, this quick analysis, please give us a subscription. Comment, let me know what you think. Do you think Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings can make a playoff run? Make sure to like this video and subscribe. If you want to check out a most recent full episode of No Buts About It, that's going to be right over here. Right there. Check that out. And if you just want to see more short clips, we're going to have one right over here for you to watch. Check out No Buts About It on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, so you can listen to us on the go. Once again, have a great day and go do something nice for someone.